Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Startup Sense podcast. This is your host, Jonah Lupton. Thank you so much for joining us today. We have another great episode for you. On the phone, I have founder of Honeygrow. His name is Justin Rosenberg. His company, which he started about 4 years ago, has already raised $52 million from investors. Honeygrow is a kind of a healthy restaurant choice, specializing in stir fries and salads and smoothies and whatnot. We'll talk about that in a minute. Company started off in Philadelphia. They've expanded rapidly. They're about 15 locations right now, opening up a 16th very soon in Brooklyn, and a lot more exciting things we're gonna chat about. So let's welcome Justin to the show. How are you, Justin?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, of course. My pleasure.
You are literally sitting in your car in Brooklyn, right, outside your newest location.
Yeah, about to be. Yeah, we're about to head there. So I'm parked in Brooklyn right now, and we're under construction in downtown Brooklyn. So I'm gonna head out there in a bit.
Let's
Our
kind of
progress.
let's start there, and then we'll backtrack to kind of the beginning. But what does it take to open up a store? I mean, once you guys identify a location, in this case, Brooklyn, how much planning and build out and everything else goes into getting a store open?
Yeah, I mean, fantastic question. A lot. I mean, when I'm looking at doing something in a new market, I analyze a lot. I certainly want to make sure there's enough office density. I want to make sure there's enough residential. I want to make sure that the concepts that are there, and it doesn't have to be a fast casual concept. What is the health of, say, a Starbucks? How are they doing? What are the sales comps? What are the rents? So there's a lot that goes into underwriting a space and making sure it's right for us, and certainly the location of it, proximity to, say, a subway, and who's the market. I mean, is it an older demographic, a younger demographic? So a lot goes into that thought process.
And do you guys do all that yourselves internally, or do you outsource some of that to a company that specializes in that type of data?
No, we do it internally. We work with a broker in the markets. We work with a broker also based in Philadelphia, MSD, and we just get after it. We just try to find the best real estate. We have a lot of good relationships, and very fortunately at this point, we have landlords seeking us out, which is great because certainly in the beginning we had no street cred, we had no credit, and it's certainly a nice change of pace for us to be sought after.
Cool. Okay, so let's go back to the beginning. Why did you start Honeygrow?
I started Honeygrow because I wanted to be happy in my life. I wanted to do something that I love. I just didn't want to do something that I don't want to spend my life just looking back and saying, man, like I could have done this or should have done that. My passion has always been on the creative side and cooking. I'm a full liberal arts creative background, and I just didn't want to spend my life doing something I wasn't fully in love with. So I wrote a business plan, worked for a buddy of mine in a restaurant, and just got after it. Just said, okay, look, I'm going to give myself 2 years to get this thing financed and up and running, and I've never done this before, so let's figure this out. Luckily, in grad school, I went to grad school to get my MBA in finance, and I was working in finance, so I really had a strong, solid understanding of the numbers side of the business, and said, this is it. Like, I kind of know how to do this business plan-wise. Let's find some investors, and the rest is history, man.
Sweet. Now, you told me in the pre-call that you had to pitch essentially over 90 investors in order to raise your first round of money to get the first store open. Kind of take us through that, because that is a lot of investors. That's a lot of no's. How did you stay motivated and not get discouraged?
Discipline. I really wanted this, and I knew the potential that this thing could have. And my goal from the beginning was to create a sustainable company that can grow. I mean, my passion has always been cooking, design, building something. And I was hungry. I wanted it. And I said this before. I think Steve Jobs, when he said this, it's just, I think most people, when they see what they're up against, most sane people would say, I'm not dealing with this. But it takes a kind of a crazy person to just keep going. So I definitely fall into that bucket of crazy. And I just got after it. I really wanted it. I wanted to build a business. I was super passionate and am super passionate about it. And just hit the street running. Whoever would talk to me and network with me, I'd talk to them. And who do they know? And who do they know? Excuse me. And then ultimately, the numbers just kind of added up, and it got to 94. And the 94th guy was the guy that said, I think I can get this thing financed. And I said, great. He said, do you have a space? I said, I know a space is available. And that space today is our flagship location in Center City, Philadelphia.
Awesome. That's a pretty crazy story. Okay, so you raised about $2 million in that first round. How quickly were you able to get that location, your flagship store open?
Well, the first store was supposed to open, from what I can recall, April. It opened in June. The first store really, I mean, we actually we took possession of that space, I believe, at the end of December. So you're looking at about 6 months ish
Okay.
to get that store open.
And that was December of 2012?
No, December 2011 is when we
Okay.
took possession, and opened June 8th, 2012.
Okay. How did the opening go? I mean, was it smooth? Did you guys have some hiccups along the way? I mean, I'm sure probably always some hiccups, but what issues did, kind of caught you by surprise, or did you guys have to overcome?
If you can just, as in like, say, I would say it was the most disastrous opening in Philadelphia restaurant history, arguably. It was like, it's like something out of a movie. It was like a book. But no, we opened pretty poorly. We didn't have, I think, a lot ready to go yet. We had a lot of pent up demand because there's a lot of visibility with our space. There's a lot of buzz about it, and nothing was ready. Just the sauces weren't ready, the dressings weren't ready, the menu was, the training wasn't there, the team wasn't ready, and I wasn't ready. I mean, I definitely didn't have enough experience under my belt. So we opened up, and it was just like the most gratifying feeling, of course, to have like somebody come in and buy something, and they were like, "Oh, it's great." So cool. And as time went on, 11:30 and 12, we just got slammed. I mean, we have touchscreen kiosks for the ordering process. Those stopped working. The air conditioning stopped working. I had two people quit on the line.
Jeez.
It was just rough. We had like a 40-minute wait time, and people just leaving and freaking out. And we got through the day, and I remember going home and sitting on my bed with my wife, just like, "Are you okay? How'd it go?" And I'm like, "I hope I just didn't make the biggest mistake of my life."
Right.
But after some 3-4 hours of sleep, I just said, "All right, this is it. Let's make this work." I have no choice. It was kind of just, you just make it work, like make it great. So I jumped back in, and very slowly but surely we turned it around and got the wrong people out, the right people in. My wife actually gave birth 3 weeks after the opening to her second daughter. So
Wow.
once Livy was born, I was able to say, "All right, she's healthy, you're healthy. I'm out of here. I'm doing doubles." So I wound up becoming the GM. I fired the GM. I became the GM. Ran the stores day and night. Figured out how to get the right people, the right training, the right products. We just, if you look at what was against us, there's no way I think we would have been successful. And I think it just was a lot of grit, and I had some good people working with me. And very fortunately, we hit a profit in the third month, and then it clicked, and the team was great, and we just rocked it. And then very fortunate to open a second location a few months later, and that one from day one, we knew how to do it, and it took off. And that was
Right.
it.
I assume it gets after you get the first one, you get all the kinks out. The second, third, fourth, and fifth become a little bit easier, right?
Yeah, it definitely gets easier. And honestly, it's really, it sounds cliche, but it really boils down to finding good people and just people who care and have energy and can make a decision and love it and really want to work hard. And of course, you need to reward these people. And that's the best feeling when you can get back to them, because I've worked for places where you work really hard and it's not, nobody cares. So my team puts in so much, and they continue to do so. And we continue to, my job now has obviously evolved from running a restaurant, but it really boils down to having good people who are motivated and, of course, just want to get after it.
So most of the companies or most of the founders that I have on the show are running tech startups, a lot of software companies. So they're doing a lot of, digital marketing, online stuff. How do you guys think about marketing when you open up a new location? What is your strategy for getting people into the location?
It's a great question. So when we have a new location, there's a ton of movement we do with social media. With my first restaurant, it's very interesting. I did something that caused a huge problem. We couldn't handle that first day of volume. The first about a month before we opened, I just launched this thing where the local parking authority in Philadelphia, the Philadelphia Parking Authority, the PPA, I said, if you get a ticket from these guys, we'll give you a $36 gift card, 36 bucks being kind of like the average ticket you get for parking somewhere and not paying your meter or whatever. And it generated a ton of buzz. It was on the news. It was actually really comical. But the problem was when we opened, we just got slammed. So took a step back and said, okay, well, maybe we're not ready for that, and we need to get the team ready and trained and whatnot. So when we open now, marketing-wise, we really just reach out to a lot of people throughout the community, local artists, local designers, local influencers, local bloggers, really create real relationships with them, not just, hey, try some food and then never see you again. Like, we invite them back. We want them to, what can we do with you down the road? I think when you enter a new market, for us, it's really about establishing long-term relationships, because I think there's nothing more important and more impactful than word of mouth. So going into a market, making those relationships, and authentically sustaining those relationships is really what we do when we are moving into new places.
What are your favorite locations in terms of like what the data points that drive you to that spot? Is it being close to, business districts? Is it being close to, a lot of large apartment buildings? You mentioned the subway. Do you have any favorites?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Our model works really well in urban, suburban, and college campuses. So what I do is we look for stores that are going to be, or opportunities that are going to be, the perfect world would be a mix of dense residential, dense office, and universities. So our team goes out there and they look for something in that realm. Sometimes you get 2 out of 3, but if it's going to be 1 out of 3, forget it. So suburban, for example, if there's a lot of office, or there's an office park, and there's a lot of residential, and the median incomes make sense, and we can get information on other concepts, whoever it may be, and how they're doing, it's very easy to make a decision. But again, the ideal situation again is our last store just opened up was urban downtown Chinatown, DC. So that store is doing great. The store before that we opened was King of Prussia. That store is doing great. So really, it's more of a metric of those 3 variables that I think have the most impact on a decision.
This is Jonah Lupton, founder of the Lupton Group and host of the Startup Sense podcast. Are you struggling to find the right tech team to build your company's website or mobile app? Maybe you've developed a product but need help with your go-to-market strategy, including branding and marketing. Well, stop worrying, because my team at the Lupton Group can assist you with all of those needs. We specialize in helping entrepreneurs and startups of all sizes launch and grow their businesses. For a free consultation, you can email me at jonahlupton@gmail.com or visit our website at luptongroup.co. So DC is the farthest southern store right now. Are you guys planning to keep on going down the East Coast, or are you going to kind of fill in all the spots between Philly and DC at this point?
Yeah, I mean, kind of both. We're looking right now to continue to grow on the East Coast. We'll be opening more stores in DC. We have in the works. I'm really excited about. We will be opening up in New York. We're going to be opening up in Boston. We're going to be doing a lot. So we have a lot going on. And of course, in between Philly and DC, we have 2 stores or 4 stores. We have 2 in Delaware, 1 in Wilmington, 1 on the campus of University of Delaware. And we opened up 2 in Baltimore last year, and those are doing awesome. So, yeah, I mean, if there's more stuff in Baltimore we could do, I'd love to do it. And if there's more stuff we could do between Philadelphia and New York, we have 3. We have Hoboken, we have New Brunswick, which is Rutgers campus, and we have Cherry Hill. We're actually opening up a 4th location in that area by Cherry Hill. So, yeah, just continuing to backfill existing markets while growing into new ones.
Awesome. So, I mean, at this point, over 600 employees, obviously you're not doing all the hiring yourself, but, what has been your hiring or recruiting strategy and then retaining that talent? I mean, from the people that work in the headquarters and run your marketing and operations and HR to the people that are on the front lines dealing with customers every day. I mean, building culture, I'm sure, is very important to you.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of the same model, more or less. I mean, I used to do the hiring for the people who kick butt and work in our stores, and now I'm doing the hires for the SVP of development. I look for people that really have that energy, the ability to energize other people. I mean, really kind of the 4 E's from Jack Welch. I mean, it really rings true. You have energy, you can energize other people, you have a little bit of edge that you can make a decision, and of course your ability to execute. And that goes across the board for whoever you are, whatever the position. But it's like a war on talent, because a lot of fast casual concepts are rocking and they're doing great and they're growing. New concepts are opening up. So how do you keep these people? I mean, really it boils down to, you got to make sure they're happy, You got to make sure that they're working with people that are like-minded. I mean, I've made thousands of stir fries, and I'll stand next to these guys and say to myself and even to them and say, why do you want to work here? And what is it? And I think one of the key things that we do that I get a lot of feedback, it's a rush. I mean, it's like working in a real restaurant. You are not just taking stuff and putting it in a bowl, but you're cooking food. You're back there prepping things with a knife. You're in the front. You are sauteing. You're wok cooking. We train our staff to do that. We have a very, very in-depth training program to make sure that, hey, you might not have any restaurant experience, but you have a great attitude. You have all those variables that we're looking for. We'll train you on how to do this. And I think a lot of people appreciate that. And, that's kind of it. In terms of on the more HQ corporate level, we look for people that, again, have the right attitude. Really just across the board, I'm looking for leaders. I want people that want to lead, are willing to be coached, are willing to coach people. And that's really it. I mean, at the end of the day, we're only as good as, leadership. So it's critical to find across the board people who we think we can develop into leaders and people who want to be leaders. That's really it.
So it sounds that you guys are, pretty much going to double over the next 12 to 15 months. I think you're at 15 stores now, and you say you're going to be over 25 by the end of this year. So kind of how do you think about growth? I mean, obviously you guys have raised plenty of money to make this happen, but how do you make sure you guys aren't growing too fast?
Great question. Our ability to just make sure we feel comfortable with hiring, with making sure. I mean, just honestly, it's just constant gut checks. It's all about communication, and as cliche as it sounds, it's true. I mean, we meet as a group, all of our people in the office on a weekly basis. Operations, branding, culinary, accounting, development, et cetera, technology. We sit down and we go over everything that's going on. And if we feel like, hey, we're taxed, this is exhausting, we take a step back and say, okay, well, maybe this is too much. But I think one thing that we have to do is, and we continue to do, is just to be honest with each other and make sure that we can grow at a pace where we can just maintain our stamina. And the second, for me, it's not growth for growth's sake. It's the second we feel like we're not going to execute appropriately, I wouldn't do it.
I can't remember if I asked you this question in the pre-call or earlier in the interview, but I'll ask it again. You guys have decided not to franchise at this point. What's the main reason behind that?
I feel that you'll lose that connection between the guests. And I really feel that we are a company focused on food and experience. That's what I want to focus on. I really want to focus on building a company based on making a product. Have I ruled franchising out for Honeygrow? Pretty much. I don't think we'll do it. I mean, I get people asking all the time, and there's always like moments like, oh, yeah, maybe, but I just don't think it really makes sense for us. I think there's a lot of intricacy with what we do. We're very hands-on as a group. Training is critical. Finding the right real estate is critical, and making sure that people who are running our stores genuinely care about what they're doing, and it's not just about making a buck. And, as of now, we have that ability to bring people into our HQ in Philadelphia, get them jazzed up, excited, and trained. So I don't want to lose that guest. I don't want to lose that connection not only with the guests, but I don't want to lose that connection with our employee base either. It's just really important. So I just don't think it's right for us.
Cool. Who is your kind of like most important person at the company besides yourself? Do you have a right-hand man or woman that really steps into your shoes when you're not around?
A lot of people. I don't think I have one, to be honest with you. I think everyone who works with me serves just an incredible function and role. And without them, there would be no Honeygrow, period. It's just, Honeygrow is a giant collaboration of really awesome, smart people.
Let's see here. I'm trying to think what else I want to ask you. I mean, so I personally haven't. I haven't been a customer yet. Obviously, you guys are growing fast. You guys must have a ton of customer loyalty. So, do you have a handle on how often customers come back to Honeygrow?
No, but what I can tell you is this. No, I don't have an exact metric on it, but what I've noticed, and this kind of takes a step back, when I created the concept, I didn't want Honeygrow to be like any other fast casual concept. And fast casual right now, there's just so many people getting into the game. And it's just kind of like, well, why are you doing this? Is it because you're some corporate group, or is it because, you didn't want to get a real job? Like, great. But if you're doing it for the sake of making a buck, I really recommend don't do it. And it really is it's about like caring about that product and building a company and working with some really great people and honestly just being happy in life, building something. So, I from day one wanted to make sure that this thing was differentiated. That's something I'm proud of. That's something that would make me happy, and I wanted this thing to be special. And of course, from an economic standpoint, one of the ways to do that would be hitting certain metrics. One metric, of course, is a split between male and female, and the other would be making sure you can get both day parts, lunch, and dinner. If you could hit those metrics, I think you differentiate. That's what investors want to see, that you can really kind of just have more of that prevalence for your guest base. And so that's why we have salad and stir fry. I don't want to do salad because I think you're going to be skewed more towards lunch. I think you limit your white space in terms of market opportunity, and I think it would skew more maybe towards female. So the stir fry component really captures that ability to get men into the store and for people to come and during dinner. So ultimately what happens, people will come and get a salad for lunch, and I'll pop into another store, and that same person might be there with his or her family grabbing dinner with everybody, which is a really gratifying feeling. Like, wow, like not only are people coming back a couple times a week, they're coming back more than once a day. So I'm super proud of that. And that's one way that we really differentiate.
What are the price points on your food? I mean, I'm sure it's affordable because it is kind of that fast casual. Are you guys in that like low single digit range?
We are between 11 and $12.
Yeah, okay. So that's very, very affordable for the working man or woman, or family.
Yeah. Yep.
So one of your bigger investors, maybe your biggest investor at this point, is a company called Miller Investment Management, and you mentioned to me earlier that they are also a large shareholder in Five Guys. So they clearly love the restaurant space or the fast casual space. What advice and strategic, leadership have they been able to give you based on their previous experiences with Five Guys?
Well, it's funny. We've talked about the challenges that they've had with franchising, and of course, that conversation has come up, and it just leads me to just not want a franchise, to be honest with you. So, I think again, just what they focus on and what works for them is awesome, and what works for us is a bit different. And Five Guys is an amazing company, and I think we're different with what we do, and I think it's operationally more challenging. So, to have that ability to contrast is great. The ability to talk to the Five Guys people and ask for, hey, how'd you do this? How'd you do that? Has certainly been very helpful. But I think the biggest thing for me is just the support we get from the Miller guys. They have been from day one super supportive, very entrepreneurial. They just let us produce. They let us just go out there and continue to build a company, and we meet regularly. They're generally nice guys. They generally are super passionate about what we do. That support has been the best. I mean, you honestly just can't ask for more from an investor.
So one of my business goals personally is to open up a fast casual, but I would either do it in Italian or sushi. My two food loves. And I get pitched all the time from other people that are looking to start restaurants or looking for investments or consulting advice or whatever. What advice would you give to someone that was looking to starting their own fast casual? Forget chain, right? Because you got to get the first one or first two right before you can even think about expanding. But just to open up the first location, what would you tell them? Obviously have enough capital, get the right location. But besides that, what advice could you share?
I would say get out of bed, look yourself in the mirror, and say, am I insane? And then the second question would be, do I really, 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 really want to do this? It's not for everybody. I think, as I said, a lot of people want to get into the space. You got to really want it. And it's going to be hard, and it's going to be grueling, and it's going to become your life. But if that's cool with you, then that's part one. Part two would be, you need to learn that balance between the artistic side of creating a menu and designing a store, which for me is just natural. I'm way more of a creative than not. But I also spent 5.5 years in finance, and I have an MBA in finance. So I really understand the business side of it. So when your job is to figure out how do you get 20% EBITDA and, as close to 40% cash on cash as possible and north of a 2 to 1 sales to investment ratio, not only do you need to understand that and execute it, but you need to be able to communicate to your team on how to execute that. So very regularly, I meet with my team and explain, here's how you affect the cash-on-cash equation for the numerator or the denominator. It really boils down to that. So you really need to have a solid understanding of the business model and the financials behind it. It's not just fun and games. Like, if you're looking to really scale this thing and find real money outside mom and dad and make returns that people are certainly expecting and deserve if they invest in you, you got to understand the model. And then I think the last thing, which is equally as important, is you need to be willing to go into the stores and work. I used to run 16th Street. I ran our Bala Cynwyd store. I've opened many of the stores. You have to know as much, if not everything, about the details of your operation. So, I can go into a store and vibe it. If something's great, awesome. If something's not, I vibe it. Yesterday, I was in our Chinatown location, and those guys kicked butt, and I jumped on the line, started cooking food, and everyone's like, "Wait, you know how to do this?" I'm like, "Yeah, I know how to do it well." Like, the reason why you're dropping noodles and cooking it for a minute, 15 seconds is because I tested the noodles a million times. That's what I like. The reason why you turn the heat off over here is because this is how you do it. I used to do this for years. So you really need to love your product, believe in your product, and know everything about it and how to operate your store. So that's my advice.
Awesome. Couple last questions here. Do you eat anywhere besides Honeygrow, or is Honeygrow your breakfast, lunch, and dinner?
I would say eat Honeygrow probably 5 days a week. No joke. I do. I really like it. So I've eaten a lot of it. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of restaurants that are out there that I love. So I'm definitely a bit of a restaurant snob. So yeah, I mean, yeah, of course. We're just in LA, went to a bunch of places. Sorry, go ahead.
The numbers, and I'm not really sure how, certainly for places that, like full service restaurants that serve alcohol, I mean, their numbers and percentages change a little bit, but in like the fast casual space, like your food costs, what do your food costs need to be? Like 25 to 30%?
Correct.
Okay. And then what about like rent as a percentage of overall revenue? Because I'm sure you're going into busy locations, rent can be pretty expensive, right?
Yeah. It depends. It certainly depends on the market, but we'd like to see between 5 and 10%.
Okay. Good numbers for me to know personally if I ever move forward. But I mean, what's that?
Call me anytime. I'll happily give you any guidance you need, please.
I appreciate that. I mean, just I guess last couple of questions here. You mentioned 2017 goals for the company was about 25, 26 stores. Do you think, do you do any planning beyond that, or are you guys just really focused on 2017, and then when you get to 2018, you'll, kind of reevaluate?
No, we're moving. So we're laying out the groundwork now on how to get the plans going for 18 and meet the expectations. And we're currently negotiating deals for 2019 and 20.
Awesome! Wow, that's impressive. Well, that's pretty much all I got for you, man. I could ask you 100 more questions, but when you're running 16 locations or 15 locations plus a 16th opening soon, you probably don't want to spend more than half an hour on the phone with me. So I greatly appreciate it. If I'm ever down in your area, I'd love to, buy you lunch at one of your own stores.
No, that's not going to happen. Well, we'll host you, please. You let me know when you're in town, man. Just let me know.
Great. Any parting words for the audience, or certainly tell us how we can connect with you online or learn more about Honeygrow?
Yeah, it's very simple. Honeygrow.com. Check us out on Twitter, Instagram at Honeygrow. Just come in and taste the food. That's it.
Oh, actually, one more thing I wanted to mention. Kind of the tagline on your website is honest eating and growing local. So do you guys do a lot of your food sourcing from local farmers and whatnot?
Yeah, absolutely. It's actually a bit more than that, but the honest eating component really is what you see is what you get. We're making our sauces and dressings from scratch. We're buying beef from Creekstone and chicken from Freebird. We buy as organic as possible. We buy as local as possible. The local side, certainly the wintertime is hard, but when we can buy local, we make an effort to do so. The background of that is simply that's how my family and I eat. I get really excited about a tasty, gorgeous, something that's as fresh as possible. So, I think a lot of people do it for the gimmick of it. For us, it's just a certain flavor component that we want to make sure that we have. I'm on the board of Common Market Mid-Atlantic, which is an aggregator for farmers. Farmers work with Common Market and then ultimately distribute their product to restaurants and hospitals. And really the idea behind it is to promote local eating. So I'm super proud of that. And that's just what we do.
Awesome. When are you guys coming to Boston?
Sooner than you think.
Sweet. And last question for you: what is your personal favorite menu item?
Oh man, that's a tough one.
That was the hardest question of the day.
I've been eating a lot of salads lately. I've been just really hitting up. I love organic mesclun, so I've been eating a lot of that. Our mustard soy is awesome. White balsamic sells really well. I think a safe bet, it's really delicious, is the spicy garlic. It's just delicious. Fresh egg white noodle, chicken, broccoli, pepper, onion. It's awesome. Red, beautiful spicy garlic sauce. So I would say that's kind of and pineapple. That's kind of my go-to when it comes to that. But yeah, I mean it's all good. I don't think I have a favorite. It's like saying what's my favorite kid. I don't know. I'm all good. So
you're gonna have my audience drooling all over themselves while I listen to this podcast.
Nice.
Okay, man, that's all I got for you. I really want to thank you for coming on the show, giving us your time. Certainly, you guys are off to a kick-ass start thus far with the company. Wish you continued success and come back anytime.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. Good luck with everything. And anytime you're in Philadelphia, just let me know. We'd love to host you.
Awesome. Very generous, dude. Okay, talk to you soon, Justin. Have a good one.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.